Hey, YouTube Set Guy here. Today I want to do a quick review by itself of the Sentinel. It's a 111 millimeter knife. It's by Victorinox. Now this is basically an update. I did a video a little while ago on the 3 single blade Swiss Army knives that I have. And when I was doing that video, I commented about the point on the blade on this knife was a little blunt for me, and I preferred something with a little bit more of a point. And I had a modification done on it, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Let me go over some specs of this knife. Closed, it's 111 millimeters, which is 4 5/16 inches. The width is 12.25 millimeters, which is a ½ inch. The blade is 87 millimeters, which is 3 3/8 inches. The weight is 77.5 grams, comes out to 2.75 ounces. The scales are black scratch resistant nylon, and it has the pocket clip on the back. And then also the key ring and toothpick and tweezers. Just a comment about the pocket clip. In my last video when I was talking about this, I hadn't had any problems with the pocket clip. Since then I've had it twice where the pocket clip has slipped on the inside and gone at an angle, pretty much like that. The first time it did it, I was trying to figure out how it did it, why it did it, and so on. Couldn't, and it popped back over when I turned it. The second time it happened, I noticed I was sitting on a wooden bench, and I realized the first time it did it, I was sitting on a hard plastic seat. So basically, if you sit on a hard surface and you're carrying the knife in your back pocket, it can cause it to, because of the way you're sitting or something, can cause the blade to, not the blade, but the clip to turn inside the handle. So whenever I'm going to sit on a hard surface and I remember I have this in my back pocket, I pull it out and put it into my front pocket so I don't have that problem. Or clip it to my front pocket so I don't run into that problem. And hopefully that'll solve that. Now to get to the blade, again, it's a plain edge, but as you can see, it now comes to a very nice point. Well, while I was visiting my folks last month in September, there's a knife shop my dad and I like to go to, and there they do knife sharpening and so on. I talked to the owner of the shop, and he was willing to take off the hump back here and bring it to a point. Now he had done that to one other knife several years ago, and when I showed that knife to him, he remembered doing it and said no problem, he could do it again. And he only charged me like $2 or $3 to do that plus sharpen the knife, so I thought that was a win-win there. Now I'm not being sponsored by these folks or anything. It's just that I really like the shop. I've been there several times. Whenever I go to visit my parents, my dad and I always go by there. And these are the people. Let me and this is the knife shop that I go to, Wiley Knives. They're in Greenwood, Delaware, and like I said, they do knife sharpening. And then here on the back, if you want to pause it, it's got directions on how to get there from different parts of Delaware and Maryland, and the store hours. They're really nice folks. I picked this pamphlet up because I wanted to talk about them. Like I said, they're very nice and very knowledgeable about knives. I also, while he was working on my knife, only took him about 5, maybe 10 minutes. I'm not sure. I was talking to folks out in the front and looking at other knives, and the time went by pretty quick. I bought a couple other knives while I was there. So that's the update on this knife. I have been carrying it for a while. Even before I got the point put on there, I really like this knife, carrying it. And it being one-handed and locking is also nice. I like the ergonomics on it. And just to do a quick, I think one day I had pulled it out and whittled a stick to cook a hot dog on one time this past summer. You can do that with any pocket knife, but I use this one. And I've used this knife just basically for general utility. I hope you enjoyed this quick review of the Victorinox Sentinel. And again, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And remember, always be prepared.